I witnessed Veralio's final days. Though he would not cross the Cadmea River, the voice of the Most High promised Chiron, "I will go before you, and the victory shall be yours." Veralio then encouraged him, "Be strong and fearless, for the Eternal One will never forsake you." In his final days, Veralio compiled the Book of Vows, the divine ordinances for the people, entrusting them to the guardians of knowledge. He finally ascended to the peaks of Talara, where the Most High showed him the fullness of the lands of Arvium. At 120 years old, with his vigor and vision undimmed, Veralio, the faithful servant, gave up his spirit in the Australia plain. His burial place remains a mystery to this day. May his faithfulness inspire us. Like and subscribe for more sacred words. The breeze across the Australia plain whispered ancient secrets into Veralio's ears. But his wise heart was restless, weighed down by the certainty of his departure and deep concern for the future of the chosen people. I watched him, his venerable countenance marked by the ages and countless journeys, yet his eyes still held the fire of unshakable faith. The Most High, in his immutable sovereignty, had already revealed to Veralio the end of his earthly journey, granting him glimpses of the fullness of the lands of Arvium, the promised dwelling, which his feet, however, would not touch. I clearly recall the sorrow in his eyes as he remembered the blemish in the Chiron desert, where he and his brother Zafiro failed to sanctify the name of the Most High before the thirsty multitude, a mistake that sealed his destiny. He cried out to the Eternal One, his voice choked with emotion yet firm in supplication. "O Sovereign of heaven and earth, my time is ending, but your people need a guide. Who will lead them along this new path? Who will uphold the Book of Vows in their hands and your name on their lips?" The Most High's answer was not long in coming, echoing not in thunder, but in the certainty that filled Veralio's spirit. "Chiron shall be the shepherd of my flock, the light that will guide them. Prepare him, Veralio, before the guardians of knowledge." Thus, with the divine mission in his spirit, Veralio called Chiron, the young man of robust stature and determined eyes. In the solemn presence of the guardians of knowledge, those who held the living memory of the ages, Veralio laid his hands upon Chiron. "My son," Veralio said, his voice imbued with a gentle authority, "the burden that now rests upon your shoulders is heavy, but the Most High has chosen you. Be faithful, be just, be the shield of Israel and the voice of the Eternal One." Chiron humbly bowed his head, his eyes fixed on Veralio, absorbing every word. It was then, in the vast expanse of the Australia plain, that Veralio delivered his last great discourse, a message forever imprinted upon the hearts of the new generation. The setting sun painted the horizon crimson as he spoke, his voice, though aged, resonating with the strength of a prophet. "Children of Israel, hear my final words. Do not forget the rebellion of your fathers in the desert, their constant inclination to stray, which cost us 40 years of wandering, and the denial of entry for many, including this your servant, for a single moment of impatience in the Chiron desert. See how vital obedience is." He raised his hands, pointing to the heavens. "The sacred ordinances, the divine precepts, must be inscribed upon every soul and practiced with all your heart. They are the path to life, to blessing, to prosperity in the lands of Arvium that await you. Be faithful to the one sovereign. Do not bow down to idols. Do not follow the customs of wicked nations, for idolatry and disobedience will lead to perdition, dispersion, and lament." The silent multitude listened to every syllable, the weight of truth settling upon them like a heavy dew. After the discourse, Veralio called Chiron closer, the two beneath the shade of an ancient terebinth tree. "Chiron," he said, his voice now a murmur, "I feel the closeness of my departure. The Cadmea River, which lies before us, I will not cross. My earthly journey ends here. But the Most High has promised, I will go before you, and the victory shall be yours. No nation will stand against you. Be strong and fearless, my son, for the presence of the Eternal One will never forsake you.
He will be with you in every battle, in every step toward the lands of Arvium. Chiron, his eyes welled with tears, gripped Veralio's hand, the weight of leadership and farewell evident on his face. In the days that followed, Veralio fervently dedicated himself to the last great work of his life. I saw him poring over the scrolls, his pen tracing each letter with reverence, compiling the Book of Vows, the divine laws that would govern every aspect of the chosen people's lives, from worship of the Most High to the smallest social interactions. Every commandment, every statute, every judgment was recorded there, the legacy of a life of devotion. Though aware of the future inconstancy of the chosen people, their propensity to stray and to idolatry, a flame of hope burned in his breast, the hope of an eventual and glorious return to the Most High. Once the monumental task was complete, he delivered the carefully rolled Book of Vows to the guardians of knowledge, entrusting them with the safekeeping and transmission of the eternal Word. Finally, with his mission fulfilled, Veralio ascended alone to the peaks of Talara. From the summit of that sacred mountain, the Most High revealed to him, in a panoramic and glorious vision, the full extent of the lands of Arvium, a land flowing with milk and honey, blessed and vast. He saw from afar the home of the sons of Abner, the promise fulfilled for his people, though not for himself. At 120 years old, with unshakable vigor and vision, as if age had not touched him, Veralio, the faithful servant of the Most High, gave up his spirit. His soul departed from his body, right there in the Australia plain, at the foot of the mountain that had witnessed his last vision. His burial place remains a mystery to this day, never found, guarded by the Most High himself. Never, in all the age of ancient covenants, had a prophet arisen in Israel with such proximity to the Eternal One, who spoke face to face with him, nor one who performed such extraordinary wonders as Veralio before the sovereign of Nirdon Valley and all the land of bondage. May his unshakable faithfulness inspire us to follow the path of obedience to the Most High, for in him resides true life and eternal blessing. The morning sunlight bathed the slopes of the peaks of Talara, painting gold the steep path Veralio traversed alone. I watched him from afar, his silhouette diminishing as he ascended, yet the strength of his steps was unshakable, as if the Most High sustained him with every stride. It was a solitary ascent, a final encounter between the servant and his sovereign. The mountain breeze whispered ancient songs, and the air, high up there, seemed purer, closer to the divine ether. He carried no burdens, only the simple raiment of a pilgrim and the weight of a lifetime dedicated to faith. His eyes, which had once beheld the wonders in Nirdon Valley and the harshness of the Chiron Desert, now turned toward the horizon, eager for the final revelation. When he reached the pinnacle, Veralio knelt. There were no crowds to witness, only the vast sky and sublime quietude. There, upon the ancient rocks, the Most High manifested himself, not in consuming fire or thunderous storm, but in a vision that opened Veralio's soul to the vastness of the promise. Before his eyes, the lands of Arvium unfolded in all their splendor. I could almost feel the emotion that seized him, the delight and pain intertwined on his countenance. He saw the verdant valleys where mighty rivers flowed, the gentle hills covered with vineyards and olive groves, the fortified cities that Chiron's people would build.
a land flowing with milk and honey, the inheritance of the sons of Abner, the fulfillment of centuries of divine oaths. His gaze swept over every corner of that blessed land, and I could imagine the silent prayers rising from his heart. It was the fulfillment, albeit from a distance, of the promise made to his ancestors, the glory he so yearned for his people. But it was also the harsh reminder of his own denial, of that single moment of impatience in the Chiron desert, of his failure to sanctify the name of the Most High before the multitude. A deep sigh escaped his lips, laden with gratitude and a serene melancholy. He had guided the people to the frontier. He had fulfilled his mission, and now his eyes rested upon the promise his feet would not touch.
With the vision imprinted upon his soul, Veralio reclined, the weariness of 120 years of journey finally reaching him, not as a burden, but as an invitation to peace. I sensed it. The Most High was calling him. His breath became soft, almost a murmur, mingling with the breeze that caressed the faces of the peaks of Talara. His soul, free from all earthly attachment, gently detached from the body that had served him faithfully for so many decades. There was no pain, no struggle, only a peaceful and serene surrender. Right there, in the Australia plain, at the foot of the mountain that had witnessed his last vision and the culmination of his service. Veralio's death was not an end, but a blessed transition, the consummation of an eternal covenant. News of his departure spread like a silent lament among the tents of the chosen people. They searched for him, but his burial place was never found. The Most High, in his infinite design, hid the resting place of his faithful servant, perhaps so that no one would ever worship a place, but only the Eternal One whom he served with such devotion. His absence was a palpable void, but his legacy, the Book of Vows, the sacred ordinances inscribed upon every soul, and the memory of his unshakable faithfulness, echoed in every heart. Indeed, never in all the age of ancient covenants had a prophet arisen with such intimacy with the Most High, who spoke face to face with the Eternal One, who bore the weight of his people with such compassion and steadfastness. And who else performed such magnificent wonders, so terrifying to enemies, and so liberating for Israel, as Veralio before the arrogant sovereign of Nurdon Valley and all the land of bondage? He opened paths where there were none, transformed desert into springs, and was the voice of God for an entire nation. His life was a living testament to obedience, a beacon of faith amidst the darkness of rebellion. May the journey of Veralio, the faithful servant, inspire us to walk the paths of righteousness and to honor the Most High with every beat of our hearts. For in Him alone we find the fullness of life and the promise of eternal blessing. May this profound meditation on the life and departure of Veralio Salado illuminate your hearts and strengthen your faith. If you were touched by this story, please like this video and subscribe so that more people can be blessed by these sacred narratives. My heart ached as I contemplated the future of the chosen people. Although the Most High had guided us to the frontiers of the lands of Arvium, the memory of the transgression in the Chiron desert weighed heavily upon Zafiro and me. That failure to sanctify the name of the Eternal One before the multitude, the water that sprang from the rock but not from full faith, sealed our destiny. My feet would not touch the soil of the Promised Land. These were the final days of my earthly journey, and the responsibility for an entire nation rested upon my weary shoulders. I knew that their future obedience would be the key to blessing, but who would guide them with the same steadfastness, with the same passion, when I was no longer among them? Amidst the vastness of the Australia plain, beneath the sky that had witnessed so many trials and miracles, I prostrated myself, my face in the dust. My choked voice rose in supplication to the Eternal One. O Most High, Sovereign of Israel, do not leave your people like sheep without a shepherd. You who know every heart, raise up a leader to guide them, to keep them steadfast in your ways after my departure. The silence that followed was not one of absence, but of an imposing presence. And then, in my spirit, the answer resonated with the clarity of an oracle. Chiron Vestal, my servant, is the chosen one. You shall prepare him, Veralio, before the guardians of knowledge, so that he may receive the mantle of leadership. My heart filled with a mixture of relief and gratitude. Chiron, the robust young man with steady eyes and a determined spirit, who had demonstrated his devotion and courage on many occasions. I called him, and he came, his respectful posture contrasting with the innate strength I saw in him. Chiron, I said, my voice somewhat hoarse with emotion, the Most High has appointed you to be the new shepherd of this people. Do not fear, for the hand of the Eternal One will guide you.
But first, come with me, so that before the guardians of knowledge I may prepare you for this great charge. For days and nights, in the presence of those who guarded the divine memories and teachings, I instructed Chiron. I spoke to him of the glory and the tremendous responsibility of leading the chosen people. I reviewed every precept, every ordinance, every judgment that the Most High had revealed since Nirdon Valley, since the days of bondage. I taught him about patience, justice, mercy, and above all, unconditional obedience to the sovereign. Chiron absorbed every word, his eyes fixed on mine, his mind like fertile soil, ready to receive the seed of wisdom. I saw in him not only the capacity to lead, but the humility to learn. Time was shortening, and the certainty of my departure grew more palpable. I gathered the chosen people, the entire new generation who had not witnessed the miracles in Nirdon Valley with the same eyes as their parents. The Australia plain filled with tents and thousands of faces, expectant and curious. This would be my last great discourse. I stood before them, my body still vigorous, but my soul already preparing for the encounter with the Eternal One. "Hear, O chosen people," my voice echoed, laden with all my experience, all the love and anguish I felt for them. "Remember the rebellion of your fathers in the desert, their murmurings, the idolatry that distanced them from blessing. At every step the Most High extended his hand to them, but many refused. Obedience, my children, is the path to life. Inscribe these sacred ordinances upon your souls, write them on the doorposts of your houses, teach them to your children and to your children's children. They are not a burden, but the compass that will guide you to fullness. Practice them with all your heart, with all your strength, with all your understanding. I severely warned them against idolatry, against mingling with the peoples who inhabited the lands of Arvium, the temptation to stray from the one sovereign. If you stray, if you bow down to other gods, perdition will overtake you, and you will be scattered among the nations. But if you return to the Most High, He will restore you, for His mercy is infinite. With a softer yet still firm voice, I revealed what the Most High had already communicated to me. My children, I will not cross the Cadmea River. The Most High, in His wisdom, has determined that my earthly journey ends here, on this bank. But do not fear, for the Eternal One will go before you. He himself, the Lord of hosts, will ensure victory for Chiron, your new leader, and for you, O chosen people. Chiron, I turned to him, who stood by my side, his eyes welled with tears. Be strong and fearless. Do not be disheartened or dismayed, for the Most High, your God, will be with you wherever you go. He will never forsake you. After the discourse, knowing that my hour was drawing near, I dedicated my final days to a monumental task, recording the Book of Vows. With steady hands, I transcribed every law, every statute, every judgment, the compilation of divine laws that would govern all aspects of the chosen people's lives in the lands of Arvium. They were the words of the Most High, the foundation of their existence as a holy nation. I delivered the scrolls to the guardians of knowledge, the keepers of memory and law, with the instruction that they be read and observed by all generations. I knew, in my heart, of the future inconstancy of the chosen people, of their propensity to stray, to forget the deeds of the Eternal One. But even so, the hope of an eventual return to the Most High, of a revival of their faith, remained kindled in my soul. This hope was the legacy I left, beyond the laws. May this profound meditation on the life and legacy of Veralio, the faithful servant, continue to touch your hearts. If this sacred story has inspired you, consider sharing this video with your friends and family, so that the light of faith may reach even more lives.